All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for our monthly One Piece. Well, might as well call it One Piece Book Club, where we talk about every chapter we get in One Piece at the end of every single month. I'm kidding. What we do here, ladies and gentlemen, is, well, you know what? It's probably best if you see my face when I say this. Yo, peoples! Wait a minute. Hold on. Okay, that's better. I forgot to change my shirt. My apologies. Yo, peoples! Kyushu92 here. Wait, live feed, off feed. Yeah, we're good now. Yo, peoples! Kyushu92 here. Welcome back to yet another iteration of One Piece Reflections, where at the end of every month we go over every chapter of One Piece that we get. We are done with February. Today is the last day. And this was by, obviously the shortest month of the entire year as we move into March. Saturday starts March the 1st. Firth. I said Firth. I know I heard myself say Firth. March the 1st. And I already know that we're going to be getting a ton of great things concerning One Piece as a whole due to what these 3 chapters we got entail. So let's go ahead and get started. So the chapters we're going to be going through is chapters 1138, 1139, and 1140. And me not being fully prepared because I was doing so many other things, including preparing for Monster Hunter Wilds, was I forgot to bring up the Viz page. But yeah, we got 3 chapters. Chapter 1138 Chapter 1138 was actually a great way to start February with us finding out about that the world of One Piece has suffered a cataclysm before. And chapter 1138 is titled The Harley, which is, this big Bible that the Giants have that pretty much tells tales of the world itself. Now, of course, it's really left up to interpretation from each individual giant because some people say, like, oh, it's a fairy tale. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. It is not solidified fact, but it does... It's steeped heavily in giant history. So, this is where we left off. Here we have Loki who's being beaten up by Gunko and Shanks. Matter of fact, let me get chat up here. I always forget to do this whenever I'm doing this. Each ni sunshine yo, we go. Okay, much better. So, after Loki has been beaten up by Gunko, and we got introduced... to Shamrock, they start walking away, and then it's revealed that Shamrock is indeed the brother of Shanks. He's not an evil, he's not a clone, and I can't say, can we call him an evil twin? Because he's kind of an evil twin if he's siding with the Celestial Dragons. And we also learn that Shanks' lineage is literally of the Figureland family. It's always that one thing trying to creep up on me. Pardon me. But we find out that Shamrock is the older brother of Shanks, therefore making Shanks Figureland Shanks, as well as Figureland Shamrock and Figureland Garling, making Figureland Garling the father of Shanks, making this yet another person with Celestial Dragon blood in their veins, including, Jewelry Bonnie, which her father, who is unknown at this time, was a Celestial Dragon when Ginny was taken to be his wife, that person's wife, all the way up in Marijois. But we find out that Shanks is the younger twin brother of Shamrock, and that Shanks actually tried to return to Marijois once. He actually tried to return to Marijois once, but preferred to live in the lower world, or as Shamrocks would like to put it, the filth of the lower world. And Loki is going, returned. I see, then your bloodline has earned my ire twice over. How fascinating that two separated brothers should each be targets of my wrath. You'll rue this day once I get these chains off. And it shows that Gunko has pretty much almost killed all of Loki's pets that he's had. All these big giant creatures, the polar bear, the snake, the wolf, the giant gorilla, all the creatures that Loki had have basically been killed by Gunko. You know what'll happen, don't you? I watched my friend's fate decided before my eyes, and now I bear the cost of it. And then Shamrock goes, you dream of threatening me. And Gunko's trying to tell Shamrock, don't let him get under your skin. But Shamrock goes, indeed, it's not worth dirtying my own hands. And we see that Shamrock appears to have an awakened mythical Zoan embedded in his sword, because he calls out Cerberus. Because he doesn't want to bother getting his own hands dirty, he just lets his own sword do all the dirty work for him. Can't get the blood of any lesser beings or any insect or any human from down underneath Marijois to get on me and stain me. So he has his three-headed dog Cerberus come out of his sword, and even Loki is shocked to see this thing, going, huh? What is that? And we see that the mouth of Cerberus, not only, because I originally thought that, its tongue turns into a sword, but no, it can make a sword come out of its mouth, along with its tongue kind of hanging off the side. And Loki's all like, huh, what is that? And Shamrock just says, it's my sword. Now, this is the first time we see first of all, a mythical Zoan type in something other than another person. All the other mythical Zoan types we have seen thus far have been essentially in either people or animals. But now this is essentially the first time we get not only a mythical Zoan type, but also what appears to be an awakened mythical Zoan type in his sword. Now, we don't know the fullest extent of what all Cerberus can do, nor all of its magical properties, its mythical properties. We do know that it's capable of detaching its own head and spinning the collar around its neck as its own self-propulsion, so it can fly through the air and be separated from the body without having to, go back to the body at the same time. Because when Shamrock says, it's my sword, and the heads are right in front of Loki, bearing burning blades. Because another thing that's happening with this particular devil fruit is that the swords that come out of Cerberus's mouth, they also appear to be on fire as well. So it's not just, there's just swords coming out of the mouth. No, the swords appear to have black flames attached to it too. And then the collars start spinning, which confuses Loki, as the Cerberus heads are just staring him down. Then Gunko creates like a bird made out of arrows, and they prepare to fly off, as the heads of Cerberus fly off. And when that's going, Shamrock says return, and the body of Cerberus goes right back into his sword. Shamrock jumps on top of Gunko's arrow bird, and they fly off. If you should survive, come and kill me. I'll be ready for you. And Loki, realizing that Shamrock is leaving him, is wondering, like, you have to be joking. And then it shows that Shamrock has made it so that the heads of his Cerberus just fly in the air and proceed to fly towards Loki. And even Loki screaming like, you don't mean that. Even I can't handle getting run through by those. Curse you, celestial dragon. And then he continues to curse Shamrock as the heads of Cerberus, with their swords extended, just completely skewer Loki. Hybrid, it is good to see you. I hope life has been treating you well. But they stab directly into Loki as he screams out, and then it cuts to Shamrock going, pacifying them all at once will be too hard. We need to get to the warrior's children first. Call one more. Very well, which one? Then we cut to Aurus Castle, where we finally catch up to those giants who were subdued by Gunko, and it gets brought up, Shanks' name gets brought up because the giants recognize that the face is similar to Shanks, but they don't realize that Shanks has another brother. And Luffy, hearing this, is like, Shanks wouldn't beat you guys up without a good reason. And the giants are saying like, yeah, we recognized him. Red Hair has been to Elbaf many times. Yeah, I guess you would. Shanks is really cool. This guy must have just must have looked just like him. We were shocked to see him, we thought. What's he doing in the castle? Red Hair was in Elbaf, right? So it's not out of the question that he would still be in the area. Then Luffy goes, but if what you're saying is true, that wasn't Shanks. Shanks is a cheerful guy who isn't full of himself, and he never does anything messed up like that. And then Nami's just saying, like, you trust him so much. Another thing that the Giants are not really... It kind of shows that the Giants are not exactly remembering with perfect detail. Then again, when Shamrock was there, he didn't have his whole body uncovered. So had his body been uncovered, they would have noticed that, hey, Red Hair has a missing arm. This dude still has his arm. So this definitely can't be Shanks. So I feel like that's kind of one reason why they weren't able to instantly recognize that this wasn't Shanks, simply because if they knew that he still had an arm, they would have known, like, okay, so this is a lookalike or someone. But, just having his face shown was enough for people to assume that, hey, this is Shanks. I know all of us thought the same thing when we saw him in the Room of Power with the Gorosei during the Reverie. So we can't just say, like, the Giants didn't know, because we were all in that situation. There was not a single person that said, oh, this is not Shanks. This has got to be a twin. None of us knew. All that time ago, none of us knew. So, but Luffy goes, of course I do. Look, Nami, wouldn't you be mad if someone said something about that Molly mare and then Nami just says, you mean Bellmare? Also, the fact that Bellmare's name gets brought up again. You don't hear the names of the people who've raised some of these characters. Oh, Hybrid. Most definitely. I just hit 35 and I'll be going out to eat tomorrow to celebrate. Oh, happy birthday, Hybrid. Happy birthday to you, man. Man, time flies. You're turning 35. You've turned 35 and I'm turning 33 in like a couple of weeks. Whew. Time flies, doesn't it? Man. Wow. Time flies. I'm happy for you. Enjoy yourself. Eat some cake for me. But you don't hear Bellmare's name pop up all the time. It's nice that Oda doesn't forget these names. So, you just bringing them up in casual conversations are like, oh, we all remember Bellmare. So I guess they were two identical people. Maybe they're brothers. Shanks' brother. I guess that could be true, but I've never heard him talk about his family. Just that he was on a pirate ship ever since he was little. And then we have a certain individual making their way up the hill towards Aris Castle. I thought Roger and Rayleigh and those guys were his family. The Roger Pirates, aside from Buggy. Because no one takes Buggy seriously as for him to be a part of Roger's crew. Only his word of mouth has allowed him to get that far, pretty much. And just his nonchalant attitude towards Shanks because of how close they were. So no one really takes it seriously. Like, okay, you got Roger, you got Rayleigh, you got Shanks, you got Crocus, you got Odin, you got all these different individuals who have been with the Roger Pirates, and then you have Buggy, and you're wondering, all these people on this side are strong. All these people on this, but Buggy by himself on this side has yet to show any level of strength beyond his first showing. Ain't that funny? Buggy is the only person in the entire series, as a pirate, we have not seen improve at all. He's been the exact same. The first pirate we interact with is Alvida. And she went from being this big, fat, high-calorie human with a chip on her shoulder and a vanity complex, ate a devil fruit, and now she's thin forever. She's changed. We haven't seen Captain Kuro in a minute, so I'm not going to count him. Axe-Hand Morgan, still think he's in Impel Down right now. Don Krieg got beaten by Luffy, but at least we've seen him in the New World because he was in the area when Vegapunk was giving his message to the world about, the Void Century and stuff like that. So, a lot of people we've seen grow stronger. Doflamingo still in Impel Down due to the events of Dressrosa. Big Mom and Kaido, well, I'm mainly just counting people who we've seen both pre and post time skip, so I really can't count anyone from the time skip quite yet. But all the villains that Luffy has beaten, save for Eneru, because he's up in space right now, all of them have managed to improve or grow stronger in some sort of way, except for Buggy. And even after becoming one of the warlords and getting his own delivery service, he's never shown using haki. He's never showing any more tricks towards his own devil fruit power. He's literally done nothing with himself the entirety of of him being in this entire series. And even after he became recognized as an emperor simply because of Crocodile and Mihawk being there, let's be honest, Buggy by himself is not emperor material. He isn't. He is the shining example of failing upwards. But because Mihawk and Crocodile decided to, side with him to further their own agenda, and, Buggy being in absolutely no ballpark to argue and say no to that, that's how he got recognized as an emperor. Not for his own strength, but just purely for the strength of those around him. And that's exactly how he got recognized as a warlord. Not because he was strong, but because other people who were around him were strong. He is not known for being a strong pirate. He is known for being close to people who are strong. As soon as people found out what he was part of the Roger Pirates, he's got to be strong, and he's used that to ride the coattails on. Then you come to find out that all the people that serve him in his entire crew are incredibly powerful inmates from Impel Down, a great deal of which, the majority of them being stronger than Buggy in every way. But they serve under Bundy. I was about to say Bundy. But they serve under Buggy, and everyone sees the strength of his crew as, worthy of recognizing his strength. And now fast forward to Mihawk and Crocodile being with him, and now the world wants to recognize him as an emperor because of these two extremely powerful individuals. Not because of his own strength, but because of the strength of those around him. Buggy the Genius Jester. How do you get all these members of Impel Down to serve you? How do you get Mihawk and Crocodile to serve you and be under your banner? This must be Emperor material. No one ever questions how strong Buggy he himself is. They just look at the people around Buggy and consider that, oh, he's a genius for getting all of these people to side with him. And they just run with it. Not even Sengoku and Tsuru question how strong is Buggy. They just talk about how strong the people are around him. You don't hear no one say, do you think Buggy is actually weak? Because we've never seen him do anything. The only people who know Buggy are weak are those who actually know Buggy. His close crewmates, Kabaji and Richie and what is it? Moji? What is it? Moji and Richie and Alvida, Crocodile, Mihawk, Mr. 3. They all know just how weak Buggy is. You remember that scene in the anime where Mihawk and Crocodile wanted to talk to Buggy because a new ship was made and it had his face on the front of it because his Impel Down crewmates are incredibly stupid and they just see Buggy as the big mastermind and view Mihawk and Crocodile as like, oh, you're serving Captain Buggy as well? We knew he was amazing. That's Captain Buggy for you. And the next scene is you hear Buggy getting them hind parts towed out the frame. That was literally Mihawk and Crocodile says like, oh, so you think you bad, huh? Oh, hold your hand out. Hold your hand out. Like they got the ruler. They got the ruler and they getting them hands. Hold your hand out. And they just tore that man up. So when I see When I hear Buggy, he is the perfect example of failing by succeeding by being a failure. Luck is really on Buggy's side when you think about it. Luck and coincidence and happenstance just happen to be some of the best allies to Buggy, because he lacks the strength, he lacks the foresight, he lacks basically everything that is necessary for a person to survive by themselves in the new world, because if you took away his entire crew, Buggy wouldn't make it. We've never seen him use Haki, which is pretty much a requirement for you to be able to fully survive in the new world. He has never been shown using his devil fruit powers for anything more than making himself look bigger around his own men, nor have we seen him do anything new concerning his own devil fruit powers, aside from making himself look bigger towards his own men, and he's done nothing that is required for you to be amply prepared to traverse all of the new world. The only reason why Buggy has survived this long is because of the people that are with him. Not his own strength, but the strength of those around him. And I went off on a whole tangent about Buggy because Luffy said the Roger Pirates aside from Buggy. But now we get back to the Jewel Tree Atom Tour, where Ripley is, carrying Franky, and we find out that there's a ton of atom tree wood all over the place. And Ripley goes, maybe I should go into business and start selling it. You're the one who should be stopping it, Ripley. Saul already scolded me once. This is a holy tree. Don't you go cutting pieces of it loose now. Anyway, if you have to cut the wood and haul it off without any giants noticing, I guess that explained the price. And then we get to this massive mural where we learn some things about the world. They're children's drawings from the ancient past, carved into the fossilized tree bark. It's a cultural relic due to its historical value. And we see this mural, but we don't see the whole thing of it quite yet because it's deep into the woods. They're estimated to have been drawn somewhere between 800 and 900 years ago, which, if correct, puts them right within the period of the Void Century. And this shocks Franky because learning about the Void Century from, Vegapunk has shown that it has massive repercussions for people who know that information. We gotta show this to Robin. I'll tell her about it later. I gotta say, for a drawing from Elbaf, they don't look all like giants to me. That's right, in the history we're familiar with, there were sometimes wars between the races. And we see the merfolk, we see Emmet, and we see other creatures as well in this mural. But never cultural exchange. Maybe that simply means that this was nothing more than a child's dream. Then we cut back to the school and the Owl Library where Robin is talking to Saul. Going, so this is the Harley. Sure is. All the various myths and legends of Elbaf were created based on this original text. Part of me really wanted to use Saul's accent there, but this isn't a read-through. We're just going through the chapters once again. Since there are so many interpretations of it, and it means the sun god all the warriors of Elbaf believe in has a different personality depending on who tells the story. Ain't that funny? Of course, I don't mind dumb luck characters if it's done right. Yeah, they gotta be done right. They can't just be dumb luck characters, but they don't actually have they don't offer anything towards the story. That's when it becomes a problem. The story split up into 3 chapters. They say the 3rd chapter describes the world we live in today. It's about something that's gonna happen in the future. In fact, the legends of Nika are seeded all throughout the world. The one common feature is that he always shows up laughing to this rhythm. Doom da da da, doom da da da. And that's when Robin starts reading it. The first world. Within the earth there was fire. Mankind, and then continuing, we have the entire giant mural. The first world. Within the earth there was fire. Mankind succumbed to greed and touched the forbidden sun. The enslaved prayed, and the sun god appeared. And that's showing that even all the way back then, people were praying for Nika, and then Nika showed up. The earth god raged, and with its serpent of hellfire shrouded the world in death and darkness, and they will never meet. Then the second world. Within the void there was breath. The forest god tamed demons, and the sun spread the fires of war. Those of the half-moon dreamed. Those of the moon dreamed. Man killed the sun and became God, and the sea god stormed, and they will never meet. One thing that has popped up concerning this statement, those of the half-moon dreamed, those of the moon dreamed. So, concerning those of the half-moon, what does a half-moon look like? What does half of a circle look like? What letter does half of a circle look like? D, right? So now we can possibly interpret this of those of the D dreamed, those of the moon dreamed. Man killed the sun and became God, and the sea god stormed, and they will never meet. Concerning the war between Nika and the 20 kingdoms, man killed God, man killed the sun god Nika, and became God. 20 kingdoms became the world government, which then later led to the celestial dragons, who consider themselves gods. And the sea god stormed, which led to the 100-meter rise, the 200-meter rise in sea levels to where it is right now. And they will never meet. Then we get the third world. Within the chaos there was emptiness. The inconvenient remnants recall the promised day and hear the voice of the half-moon, and hear the voice of those with the letter D. The sun god dances and laughs, guiding the world to its end. The sun returns and brings a new morning, and they will surely meet. And here on this mural, we see the first world, where it's ravaged by fire, and you see this beast of hellfire. And then you get to the second world, where it shows the war between Nika and the 20 kingdoms, of which we learned about from Vegapunk. And then we get to the third world, where it appears that all races of the world are going up against this one final creature, this one final boss that I'm thinking is actually Imu-sama. Now, we'll talk more about Imu-sama when we get to the final chapter of this entire month. And it appears that this creature is holding on to the sun, and then it shows possibly the Holy Knights fighting alongside Imu, while all of the races are fighting against this creature, fighting against this darkness, fighting against this abyss. We'll talk more about that in a moment. But it also shows that Loki, along with Luffy, are fighting against this thing. And that ends chapter 1138. Onwards to 1139, Mountain Eater, because this is a chapter where we learn that another member of the Roger Pirates is still very much alive. So, we get started where Luffy and company are starting to look for the key. They're starting to look for the key, and we're seeing the devastation that happened within this entire castle. Then we get to the throne room, where it shows a massive amount of devastation, and also the summoning circle, the magic circle that Gunko and Shamrock came in on. And they don't know what it is, but Nami says it's the thing they use in ritual demon summoning in some country or other. Kind of reminiscent to the people people from the one tribe when Brook came sailing into their village thanks to Kuma, and they thought he was a demon in order to deliver them from the snare of their enemies. So, seeing that, Road gets scared and wondering what's going on, and someone screams out, "Straw Hat Luffy!" "Who's that, a demon?" And we come to find out that someone is in the room going, "I've been hoping to meet you." And Rodo is getting terrified, and he wants to run. And he starts running, but a giant axe comes flying in, causing Road to, drop everyone he was carrying. But not before Luffy catches Nami and hands her over to Zoro. Then we get introduced to a man sitting up on the throne of King Harold, going by the name of former human, former pirate, living in Elbaf, Mr. Ya. And Mr. Ya is a person that is, like, I felt some very abnormal hockey coming from the castle earlier. It seems to have left, but now I find you here instead. And Rode knows who this is. I've heard the stories about you, Straw Hat Luffy, including that you took care of Kaido. Boy, I'd love to go traveling around Wano again. And, Rode is trying to introduce Mr. Ya to all of them, going, he goes by Mr. Ya in Elbaf. You went by the school, correct? Did you not meet a teacher named Ripley there? He is her husband. Oh, so you're the dad of that giant shrimp. Giant shrimp? Guess I am. So you met Kowloon and Ripley, eh? He took on a lot of giant's blood. He grew up without me being able to hold him in my arms. Would you believe he's 20 and Ripley is 80? She's older than me. Let me tell you, marrying a giant's not worth it. I get older, they stay the same age. That's a good point. I'm just surprised to hear that someone's actually done it. And then Mr. Ya jumps down and goes, love is free! There are many mixed blood races throughout history. The Buccaneers, the Dosundata, the Long Arm and Long Legs, and the Wotans. These blended people don't tend to last long, but in every era, there have always been those who are more open-minded. And Zoro's kind of, looking at him going, you seem to know a whole lot. Who are you anyway? And then Ya just goes, I'm the preacher of love. And then Luffy's going like, that sounds like what Sanji'll be when he's older. Anyway, I'm searching for the key to Loki's cuffs. Don't just tell him about it and he wouldn't know anyway. And then Luffy goes, oh, forget I said that. Literally patterning off of what Garp would do. Oh, your dad is Dragon, the Revolutionary. Oh, wait, that's a secret. You're not supposed to know that. Forget I said anything. As if people are just going to instantly forget when you give away vital information like that. And then Ya just goes, fascinating. If there's one thing I love, it's other people causing trouble. We find out why that is so true in pretty much near the end of this chapter. Young lady's secrets are, and then Nami goes, that's really tacky, you better not tell anybody about this. And then he goes, young lady's secrets are born to be spread. No, stop that right now. Do you know what kind of man Loki is? If the worst should happen because of this, what's your plan? And Luffy just says, I'll beat him up and put the chains back on him. Years ago, a man named Red-Haired Shanks captured Loki, but prior to that, no one was ever able to stop him. If you don't know what kind of powers Loki has or what damage he might do, and then Luffy, not paying attention, just walks away, just casually walks away from him. Let's go look for the key. I think he's going to be yapping for a while. And then he screams out, wait! You're wasting our time. He's giving us a warning. You should listen to him. And that's when we start to realize who Mr. Ya actually is. Because while Rode is all like, I'm sorry, Mr. Ya, Ya is just smiling because we get flashbacks to a certain mustachioed pirate, along with another pirate who we know to have glasses and a single strand hanging over his face, as well as another pirate who we saw way back in Wano. He pops up, and he's arguing with a person that looks just like Roger. I'm sick of all your warnings. Are you afraid? I didn't say that. If you want to stop me, you'll have to do it by force. I'm telling you to be aware of the risks, idiot Roger. And then Ya speaks up. Hey, Rodo, go up to the throne and push it. And everyone is still there. Everyone is still there while Rode pushes it. And then we cut to the partying that's happening in the village as we get all the giants talking about, in the old Pirate King's crew, there were two others who were especially strong, aside from Roger himself. Oh, yeah? I'm guessing it's Rayleigh and someone else. That's right. One time Roger the captain needed to rest and heal, so he and the other fellow went to a hospital in the mountains. Unfortunately, he got surrounded by a bunch of enemy pirates. But this fellow went out on his own and took down hundreds of enemies with just his 2 axes. By himself? With 2 axes? Well, there's more. In the place where he fought, there was only the bold mountainside left behind, with not a single tree standing. What? That seems a little excessive. And because of that, he gained the epithet of Mountain Eater. It's a well-known story, showing that Jinbei knows the story about this whole entire mountainside just being shaved clean. Just instant deforestation. After the first mate seal with Rayleigh, this man was known as the Pirate King's left arm. A hidden room? A treasure chamber? I love you, Mr. Ya. And there's a hidden room underneath the throne. And when they go in there, it's an entire treasure room, but all the treasure is gone, save for one singular key that's on a podium by itself. And Nami gets upset that there isn't any actual treasure in the room. And when Luffy goes over to try and grab the key, Ya jumps right next to it. Here's something no burglar would care to take. Yes! In other words, releasing Loki is something even the wicked dare not do. So will you still take the key? And then we cut back to the cheering and all the partying going on in the village, going, what? Yes, he's here. He's been living in Elbaf for over 20 years. Really? A legendary figure who stood shoulder to shoulder with Roger and Rayleigh. The left arm of the Pirate King, Scopper Gabbin! And we find out that Mr. Ya is indeed Scopper Gabbin. Now, so many theories popped up as to who this person was. So many people, for some reason, wanted it to be Shiki the Golden Lion. And I'm thinking, what relevance would Shiki have in the story at this point for him to be in Elbaf? What would Shiki offer? And a lot of people just looked at him. A lot of people just looked at his hair and just thought like, oh, this is definitely Shiki because his hair is long. And I'm thinking there's a ton of different people in One Piece who have very long hair. So it can't be that. To get that it's Scopper Gabbin, yet another member of the Roger Pirates who's still around and kicking and has a significance of importance in the story, it was great. It was absolutely great. Finding out that not only is overpowered man Rayleigh still alive, but now we have equally overpowered old man Scopper Gabbin around. Rayleigh is the right hand of the Pirate King. Scopper Gabbin is the left. The same way that Zoro is the right hand of Luffy and Sanji is his left. Kind of like that. They're both incredibly powerful in their own right. And the next chapter, which is the last chapter that we get for this month, shows just how strong and capable he is, but not the upper limits though. So, it's revealed that this man, Mr. Ya, is indeed the long-lost member of the Roger Pirates, Scopper Gabbin. And he says, take this, then take it from me if you can, as he takes hold of the key and dares Luffy to take it from him. So the last chapter we get is simply called Chapter 1140, Scopper Gabbin. And Luffy's all like, hi, how come we have to take the key from you? Just give it. Sir Ya, what is the meaning of this? What's wrong? Can't do it? Okay, that's it. And then Luffy jumps off. And Zoro's thinking back to what Kowloon said about his own dad, realizing that this man is a strong pirate. My dad used to be a pirate. He can't even hold his own against Elbaf warriors. And this is the moment where Zoro's thinking, like, maybe we should take this maybe we ought to be careful. Because Kowloon said that his father, Scopper, can indeed hold his own against giants. So that makes you wonder just how strong and powerful he is. So when Luffy tries to grab the key, Gabbin just easily moves out of the way and dodges. And when that happens, he starts dodging everything of Luffy trying to grab him rapidly. Mind you, Luffy's fast. Don't let it seem like he's just trying to grab it as quickly as he can and it's not a level of speed there. He's incredibly fast. And Gabbin is just easily moving out of the way. Listen, old man, I just want to get this to Loki so I can go back to the feast. Just take it from me then. And then Luffy goes, I will. And when he tries to grab Gabbin, Gabbin jumps in the air. And I will admit, I was a bit preemptive and instantly thinking like, oh, he's got conquerors because he starts imbuing the key with Haki. And he starts imbuing the key with Haki. It starts turning black. and you see like, hockey lightning coming off of it, which I really associate with Conquerors a whole lot. But it could just be an instance where he's just pouring so much hockey into it that it produces that effect, and it's not necessarily Conquerors. Though, I wouldn't be surprised if Scopper Gabin is capable of using Conquerors as a whole. I mean, if he's able to sense the abnormal hockey coming from Shamrock and Gunko, I'm pretty sure he could be capable of having, Conquerors hockey as well. But he imbues the key with Conquerors and just smashes Luffy directly into the ground. And then Luffy comes out of it, and he's screaming, going, and with Gabin going, "That's a nifty straw hat you got there. It looked better on you than that helmet, I bet." And then Luffy, still trying to grab the key, goes, "Yeah, because it's the treasure I'm holding for Shanks. Now give me that key!" You're only holding on to it? He didn't give it to you? The cheapskate. And seeing how someone is bad-mouthing Shanks again, not fully realizing the relationship that Scopper has with Shanks, goes, "No, dummy, that's not what it means. Don't call Shanks a cheapskate. You have no idea about him." And Gabin is laughing because he's all like, "No, you don't know all about him. I was there when that boy was a baby. I helped raise that man. What do you mean? He was our cabin boy on the Roger Pirates." But he's just laughing to himself like, oh, you think you know Shanks. You think you know Shanks. Nah, boy. I know Shanks. I know Shanks. And then proceeds to jam the front end of the key directly into his face. "You like to talk, boy." And then he slams Luffy into the ground. And that's when Gabin grabs hold of two axes. Zoro notices something bad is about to happen. And then Gabin uses a move called Yaso Takeru. And Luffy, sensing something extremely powerful is about to head his way, momentarily shivers in slight fear. Zoro screams out, "Look out, Luffy!" as he goes in and he tries his best to deflect a couple of blows away from Luffy, as Gabin completely slices apart an entire tower from the castle, which falls from the castle all the way down to the underworld. And this shocks, and then Gabin is thinking he's got a good crew, showing that Zoro blocked that blow using both his Kitetsu and, well, he blocked it with all three of his swords. It shows him directly blocking it with all three of his swords. Not like two swords and trying to block it, but blocking it with all three of his swords. But this shocks both Road and Nami, with Luffy going full Gear 5 in this instance, already grabbing like a battle axe, and Zoro preparing to fight as well. You see Enma, you see the Kitetsu, you see the Sado Ichimonji, you see all these good blades. And Luffy, his head has taken on the aspects of the helmet that he was wearing, so it looks like he has horns coming out of the side of his head, just the way his helmet does. But he's already gone Gear 5 because this is a foe worthy of using Gear 5 on. With him going, "Let's go, Zoro!" Yeah, indeed, all in white. And we see Scopper Gabin's eye. Mind you, his eyes have been behind his shades this whole time, but he's specifically paying attention here as we see his eye underneath his glasses. And then there's a crash on the ground. The castle falls all the way down to the underworld. And when that happens, Zoro and Luffy are speeding towards Gabin, with Zoro going, "You're gonna get it now." And then Gabin drops his axes and says, "I yield," as Zoro and Luffy speed right past him. And they get back up going, "Stop playing games with us, old man." And, Gabin, realizing that they're strong, but he's having too much fun just riling people up. He laughs going, "Don't get bent out of shape. It's just a joke." And then Luffy's screaming, "You can't pass this off as a joke after you tried to kill us. And, are you dead? The key you're after is in your possession." And Luffy not noticing that the key is directly behind him. And Rodo is checking on his ultra-rare Luffy, his ultra-rare Zoro, his ultra-rare Nami. And Gabin goes, in mind you, he's saying this to say, like, if you didn't know, this man is, and then Gavin stops him because he knows that revealing this information too soon could complicate things, and he wants to see how things play out without the crew knowing that he's actually a former member of the Roger Pirates. Because he says, don't get ahead of yourself, Roto. If Elbaf is still intact by the time you're leaving this island, come and see me again. And then he just leaves, while both Zoro and Luffy are mad and upset that he basically did the same exact thing that Muhammad Ali Jr. did to Yujiro Hanma in Baki, where Yujiro was on the ground preparing to, take down Muhammad Ali Jr., and then Ali Jr. just says, like, well, I don't really need to do anything because you're already on the ground, so all I gotta do is just leave. And then Yujiro lost it and almost brought down the building. He sent a tremor through the entire building because of how upset that made him with Ali Jr. just straight up leaving. Same situation here. Gabin is leaving both Luffy and Zoro steaming because he was all like, yep, I'm done fighting for today. See ya. It's just a prank, bro. Just messing with the both of them. But Luffy and Zoro going, why would we do that? I never want to see you again. Yeah, you idiot. Thanks for taking us to the key, though. We'll never meet again. And then it shows Gabin just walking away because he encountered Shanks before with him going, wait, Shanks, what makes you think I'm going to trust this guy? And then Shanks just goes, good point. Do as you will with him, Gabin. Then we cut back to the school where Anji is teaching the kids, and the kids notice something weird flying up in the sky. Mind you, Anji can't tell what it is, but the kids can definitely tell that there's something weird in this sky. And it is, in fact, Gunko riding on her big old arrow bird. And they get to a clearing in the trees where no one can see them. And they just happen to be within the vicinity of the school. And they land, as she goes, they even have a school served up to us on a platter. And then she says, I'll make the call, opens up her hand, opens up the sleeve of her jacket, and then light just shines, and then one of those same summoning circles just appears directly in front of her, with Shamrock going, go ahead. Then there's a black bolt that shoots down from the sky and hits this, and then 2 spots show up. All right, fine, I'm willing to go, just give me a minute. Where are we leaving from? Where's the abyss? And we get 2 new individuals who show up, 2 new holy knights. I mean, are we supposed to get some time to change at least? Can we have an hour? What happens with the other thing? You know, the food situation. We're not letting God starve, are we? Hello? Weird, the signal's not working. And we get introduced to Holy Knight Shepherd family, Holy Knight from the Shepherd family, Saint Somers. And then we get a man who appears to be a mythical Quilin, Quilin, who looks to be like a mythical Quilin, going, uh-oh, I'm in trouble, big trouble. I'm late, very late. I was half asleep. Where am I supposed to go again? Holy Knight of the Remo Shifu family, Saint Killingham. And Gunko turns around because she's, kind of embarrassed to look at Somers, who's in nothing but his drawers and a wife beater with a big old jacket across his shoulders, sitting in a chair because not only were Saint Somers and Saint Killingham teleported in without them knowing, but they were also teleported in with just basically whatever they were doing, just instantly. And Somers was just chilling in his chair in his room before he got forcibly transported right here in Elbaf all of a sudden. And Somers is going, huh? What is it, Gunko? Why are you in my house? Huh? Shamrock? And that's when Somers and Killingham realize they're in Elbaf! And that's when Somers starts to get his clothes on. Now, one thing to make note of here is how incredibly tall Somers and Killingham are. Somers is, a little, I want to say at least maybe 3 feet taller than Shamrock, while Killingham is the tallest person out of this entire group, and he literally towers over Shanks. You know how we see the admirals in comparison to like regular sized people. That's how big Killingham is. He's very, very tall. He probably is even bigger than Doflamingo. Gunko still turned around because Somers is getting his clothes on. And Somers is, protesting, going, "Who grabbed my entire room, sofa included? I mean, really?" "So, this is the land of the giants. It's huge." "We only needed one. Why are there two of you?" "Because you're going back, Commander." "I am." "Orders from above." "Ah, so that's the deal." "Yes, the situation in the Holy Land is rather dire." Pardon me. "Yes, the situation in the Holy Land is rather dire. It's all gone wrong ever since the Reverie, and ever since the revolutionaries declared war on the world government and burnt up the food supply of the Celestial Dragons in one go. Do you know just how sure you are of your own status for you to not know where your next meal is coming from after having your entire food storage just completely obliterated? Now the Celestial Dragons are just starving with the food they got left. They ain't got nothing else, and they're already having trouble getting food sent up to them. So the Celestial Dragons are, in their eyes, starving for food. Because, they're very ungrateful, and any food that is served to them that is not what they want, it's not even a matter of, like, let me just eat something so I can keep from starving. No, I want to eat the food that I want to eat right now. I want the food I want now. But we don't have it. Then go get it. Or either you say we ain't got it and you can't get it and you wind up getting shot, or you actually manage to get their food for them. The Celestial Dragons are in a state where they are experiencing lack, which is something the Celestial Dragons have never experienced before. If they want someone off the streets as their new slave, they are fully capable of saying, like, I want that person. He will be my new chair, and that person will just get taken off the streets. I want all the tributes that is dedicated for this section of Merigeois. I want money. I want this. I want that. And everyone will will literally break their backs in order to get what the Celestial Dragon wants. However, after the events of the Reverie, after the Revolutionary Army just wreaked havoc in Merigeois, now the Celestial Dragons are experiencing what normal humans experience. Not getting what they want. So, Somers continues going, "It's all gone wrong ever since the Reverie. Your presence there will be a benefit, Shamrock. So what's the situation in the mission? What were you doing in this unaffiliated country? Paying a visit to Harold's grave?" And then Shamrock tells him and goes, "Okay, got it. You want us to kidnap some kids and take them to the Holy Land. They're too big to stuff into sacks, though." And then Killingham, who is apparently falling asleep, but also speaking at the same time, speaking in his sleep, still holding a conversation. "But those without the mark cannot travel through the abyss pentagrams. That means we'll have to sail them back." And Gunko getting bothered by the fact that Killingham is falling asleep and addressing Shamrock. Shamrock then says with a slight smile on his face, "With your powers, you can make it into a game." And that is where we ended. Not knowing what type of powers Killingham and Somers has, but also finding out that Shamrock is going back while Killingham and Somers stay around in order to enact this mission of kidnapping some giant kids to use as, collateral, use as leverage against the giants to make the giants be brought to heel for the world government's benefit. So that is where we are with the story of One Piece right now. So, one of the things I really wanted to talk about after going through all of these chapters is, one, my thoughts on Saint Somers actually being the son of Jupiter, Shepherd Jupiter, and not Jupiter being his son, due to the fact that Jupiter's very, very face and visage have been the same ever since, well before the Ohara incident. So it stands to reason that Jupiter has had that same level of immortality that Saturn has had, and Somers is actually his son. That's what I'm led to believe. That's what I'm led to believe. Due to the fact that Saturn has been around for over 200 years, or bigger than Big Mom. Yeah. Yeah. But Saturn was around like 200 years ago when Emmett was, causing havoc in Marijua all that time ago. And now we have someone who's part of the Shepherd family, but given the fact that immortality is something that is afforded to the members of the Godosei, it would stand to reason that Saint Somers is actually the son of Jupiter and not actually the other way around, not his father, like I would have thought before. So that's one thing. Saint Killingham appears to be a Keating, which we don't know. Hold on. Sorry about that. I'll edit out the pause later on. Had a package come in. I had to take care of that. Ladies and gentlemen, okay, what was I talking about? I was talking about something. Hold on, I gotta go back. I gotta go back to when I stepped away. I gotta go back and listen to what I said. Okay, yeah, I was talking about St. Killingham. St. Killingham appears to be a Keating, which we don't know the fullest extent of what a Keating can do as far as like mythical abilities and such, because we have like the Azure dragon with Kaido, and Kaido was capable of commanding lightning, fire, invisible air slashes that can slice off limbs and what have you. He was capable of using all that. Not only that, but he was also capable of creating flame clouds. Which allowed him to, fly in the air and also pretty much levitate the entire island of Onigashima. So that's one thing. But we don't know what all capabilities the Keating has that Killingham has under his disposal. And it appears that unlike Kaido, which is significant, by the way, because Kaido, despite all the strength that he showed and all the strength that we've seen him have, we have never seen him in an awakened state. He has had different sizes where he has his hybrid form, he has his regular dragon form, and he has this drunken state where his scales turn a deeper hue of blue, and he gets like this more monstrous appearance. But we've never seen him have the trademark awakened cloud that's around his shoulders. So it makes you wonder, okay, just how far can we go with mythical dragon types, fish, fruit, model Keating, if this is indeed what it is, what are the capabilities of it that would be different from Kaido's? And seeing as how Shamrock says, well, with your capabilities, this could be a game for you. We don't even know if Somers has any abilities at all. We don't know if he has something going on with his sword, because with Somers' sword, it is basically a saber, but it has like spikes along the guard. We don't know if he has any abilities, or maybe he has an affinity towards hockey. We don't know. We don't know what the capabilities of both Killingham and Somers actually is. Though we can obviously say that Killingham is a Zoan, a mythical Zoan, because Killingham is actually awakened. He's actually awakened. He has that trademark plume of smoke around his shoulders, and he showed up in his hybrid state. And unlike Kaido, who in his state, his own natural state attributed to his, hybrid form state, in this case, it makes you think that, okay, it's possible that Killingham is a very thin, lanky individual, because even his hybrid form shows him having a very lanky proportions. He's very, very tall, but also very, very lanky. So we don't know what strength he can afford, just with physical strength. Mind you, you can never, doubt the strength of those who have like limbs that may not look all that stocky, may not look all that strong, because there are plenty of people who look very thin that are very strong in this series. So I won't put it past Killingham to have very, very abnormal strength, but it's the mythical side that gets me. You know me, I like mythical Zoan type devil fruits in this series. From the Phoenix to the Ninetales to the Onimaru and the Yamata no Orochi, all these different types of mythical Zoan types. We literally just got we had not only one, but two brand new mythical Zoan types essentially confirmed within the chapters of February, where we have the three-headed Cerberus, and now we have an ancient Keating, which is, and you know what? Let me look this up real quick. You know what? I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use this. So if I look up Keating, Keating are essentially a legendary hooved chimerical creature that appears in Chinese mythology. Whereas Kaido was a dragon based off of Japanese mythology, the Keating is based off of Chinese mythology and is said to appear with the imminent arrival or death of a sage or illustrious ruler. So that's definitely something to keep in mind concerning Killingham. We could see a possible death, or we could see a possible death of a major person within Elbaf. I'm just saying. The imminent birth or death of a sage or illustrious ruler. We either get someone who is born, or we get someone who's going to die. So if I go here to Keating facts, Keating in Chinese mythology, the unicorn whose rare appearance often coincides with the imminent birth or death of a sage or illustrious ruler. The name is a combination of the two characters Ki, male, and Rin, female. A Keating has a single horn on its forehead, a yellow belly, and a multicolored back, the body of a deer, and the tail of an ox. And here, this pretty much reinforces the idea that Killingham has a mythical Keating fruit due to the fact that he has a single horn on his head, just like the Keating does. Gentle of disposition, it never walks on verdant grass or eats living vegetation. Let's see. The first Keating is said to have appeared in the garden of the legendary Hongdi, Yellow Emperor, in 2697 BCE. Some 3 centuries later, a pair of Keating were reported in the capital of Emperor Yao. Both events bore testimony to the benevolent nature of the rulers. The advent of a great sage was made known when a Keating appeared to the pregnant mother of Confucius, 6th century BCE. The Keating thereupon coughed up an inscribed jade tablet that foretold the future greatness of the unborn child. The death of Confucius was foreshadowed when a Keating was injured by a charioteer. In 1414, a live giraffe was brought to China for the first time and presented as a Keating to the Ming Emperor Yongle. The tough old warrior, seeing through the intended flattery, curtly remarked that he certainly was no sage and the animal was certainly no Keating. In Japanese, a giraffe is called Keating with a K-I-R-I-N, but the characters are those of Keating, Q-I-L-I-N. So that's just a little factoid concerning that. So yeah, this pretty much just reinforces the thought that Killingham is indeed a Keating of some kind, but we don't know the capabilities. Now, let me see if I can find out some things about it. I'm not going to rely on the AI overview because they can be wrong. So I'm going to look up, let's see. Here's one. The Keating signifies, let me see, where is it? Let's see. Like the this is actually a really good one. Chinese and other East Asian cultures place great importance on the mythology of fantastical creatures such as the dragon, phoenix, and black tortoise. Perhaps the most popular of the mythical beasts was the Keating, a creature that bestowed prosperity and serenity. Given the fact that this is in the hands of a celestial dragon who sees humanity as nothing more than insects and their intent are to kidnap children, this is the literal opposite of prosperity and serenity. Naturally, the Keating was portrayed on many porcelain wares in China and Japan, and was then imitated by the Delft ware potters. Like the dragon, the Keating is a combination of parts, comprised of attributes and characteristics of other animals. The scaled, deer-shaped body has the feet and hooves of a horse, and the tail of an ox or lion. And if I go back over here to Killingham, and look at him, we don't actually see a tail. We just see actually, you know what? No, never mind. We got a tail. It's just, I think that's like a lion tail, but it's billowing with smoke due to his awakened state, so we can't see like its regular state when it's not awakened. Let's see. The scaled deer body, the scaled deer-shaped body has the feet and hooves of a horse and the tail of an ox or lion. The head of the legendary creature is shaped as a sheep, a wolf, or a dragon, and often has 1 or 2 horns. And this more coincides with Killingham's appearance. For Westerners, the Keating appears to be a strange, dangerous, and fierce-looking animal. However, its appearance is the most auspicious in Chinese mythology. The Keating signifies goodwill, benevolence, gentleness, and integrity. All 4 of these aspects that pretty much encompasses not a single celestial dragon within Marigeois. The only person who actually had these qualities was Miasgard, and they killed him. Like the Phoenix, the Keating is very kind towards other living beings. They are literally there to kidnap children. Careful not to harm even insects and grass. Literally there to harm children. The aspects of a Keating is the polar opposite of a celestial dragon. It is literally the polar opposite, where very kind towards other living beings. Celestial dragons looks at anyone who isn't a celestial dragon as lesser than them, as slaves to be used, tools to be used, toys to be played with, and disposed of when they get bored. Careful not to harm even insects and grass. A celestial dragon will shoot you just as quick as say, hey, you know what? You're right. Maybe it's not time for me to eat this food right now. We had a celestial dragon shoot a chef just because the chef says, we're out of this food. And the celestial dragon refused to, accept that. And all the other times we heard Saturn and pretty much everyone else refer to humanity below Marigeois as insects or lower or lesser or just filth in general. Yeah, complete polar opposite of what a Keating is supposed to be. Couldn't imagine a worser person to get a hold of this devil fruit in general. To avoid harm, the creatures are reputedly able to walk on water as well as land. In Chinese mythology, the rare witness to a Keating signifies an imminent birth or death of a sage or illustrious ruler. And of course, we already read through the one about Confucius. Let's see. Delftware painters did not understand the cultural significance and mythology of the Keating figure, eschewing its meaning to achieve the sought-after exotic oriental style of earthenware. Is this talking about pottery stuff? Now it's just talking about pottery stuff. I need stuff just focused on the actual creature itself. Let's see. Let's see if we can find one on Keating powers. Okay, this is, I don't think going to a superpowers wiki may have been the best call. Okay, mythology.net then. Let's see. Last time this page was edited was January 2017. Let's see, physical description, special abilities. Here we go. Let's see. Keating are noble creatures who mingle with the gods in heaven. When they descend to earth, their pure spirits have a remarkable effect on the world around them. First, these heavenly creatures are always capable of distinguishing between good men and evildoers. It's really bad that the power of this particular fruit, if this is indeed a Keating fruit, for Killingham is in the hand of someone who sees everyone other than celestial dragons as just evildoers and lesser in general. So, that's horrible. Naturally, they choose to associate only with the best of men, the kindest rulers and the wisest sages. Naturally, they choose to associate only with the best of men, the kindest rulers, and the wisest sages. They guard the homes of these elite, reward their good deeds with rich blessings, and fill their hearts with happiness. I don't see a single celestial dragon from One Piece filling anyone with happiness for anything that they do. I'm going to be honest. I don't think there's a single one. Second, they have the gift of prophecy. Although they rarely come right out and state their predictions, they are powerful omens of good fortune. If you see one of these beautiful creatures, you can be sure you will soon experience a windfall of good luck or that you will meet one of the great men they accompany. Okay, now we're just going off of, like, we're just saying it's just referring to, like, people in general, not me. But third, the creature can provide transportation to and from heaven. They have carried many of China's greatest heroes while they were still newborn babies from heaven down to earth and their destiny. Likewise, they can escort the souls of noble men back to heaven after they die. Highly doubt Killingham is going to do that for giant children when they start trying to take them. But we don't even know the fullest aspect of what Killingham can do with this fruit. But seeing as how Shamrock says, hey, with your abilities, you can turn this into a game. Finally, in rare cases, they might attack evildoers. Given their gentle nature, they will only attack if they sense an immediate threat towards an innocent person. When they do attack, fire is their weapon of choice. Flames surge from their nose and mouth, incinerating the miscreant on the spot. So we could be looking at a potential fire breather here. Buddhist lore adds an extra quirk to their powers. Because of their extreme gentleness, they are afraid to walk on the grass lest they injure an innocent blade. To protect the grass, they conjure up small clouds or fountains of water and float just above the ground instead of taking the risk of trampling a life. So we'll have to see if Killingham can create clouds underneath his feet to keep him from touching the ground, or fountains of water that can allow him to walk on the ground as well. It remains to be seen. Keating are classified as one of the 4 benevolent animals in Chinese folklore. Each of these animals is considered the lord of a group of other species. The Keating is lord of furred quadrupeds. The dragon is lord of reptiles. The turtle is lord of shelled animals. And the phoenix is lord of birds. So we've already dealt with the dragon before. Lord of reptiles really hones in on Kaido when we were in Wano, and we saw all the members of the Tobiropo, and a great deal of them had dragon, ancient type fruits. A great deal of them were, dragon related. So now we're dealing with a Keating here, possibly. In Western culture, Keating are called the Chinese unicorn. Indeed, there are many similarities between the two beings. They are both described as pure, gentle spirits who only reveal themselves to similarly blameless humans. What's more, they both have dainty hooves and sometimes a single beautiful horn. And then it goes into the cultural representation of it all and modern usage. But now I'm just curious as to what Killingham is going to do in order to get these kids around. Now, like I said, we don't know the full scope of his capabilities, but there is one other thing that I greatly wanted to touch on before I bring this conversation to an end and then say my final piece about the chapters of One Piece we got here in February. 1! We have a name for what is referred to as the means of being able to transport people back and forth using those magic circles. It's called the Abyss. Now, this has been in my head all day. This has been in my head actually all week. Ever since I read the chapter where Killingham says, like, well, what is this? The Abyss? You need this in order to use these abyss portals, these abyss gateways. We need is this the Abyss? So now the Abyss is an actual aspect in One Piece. And the reason why I say so is because now we have a possible name that links to all of these beyond supernatural powers that belongs to the Gorosei and even Im-sama themselves. So the reason why I say this is because there is no fruit in the entire series of One Piece that is capable of giving multiple people the same type of abilities or the same type of supernatural abilities that you can't even get singularly on a single fruit, being basically immortality, instantaneous regeneration, the ability to communicate to other people telepathically, and being able to teleport people and yourself to other locations. And I believe this power of the abyss stems from Imu-sama. And that's the reason why Imu was able to basically rip the life right out of Saturn then and there, even though they were in two completely different places. I feel it's because Imu has the power of the abyss itself. The very thing that allows the holy knights to transport themselves to different places. The very thing that allows the Gorosei to live as long as they have. The very thing that allows them to basically regenerate from any damage done to them. Because nothing that was done to the Gorosei in Egghead stuck at all. It took Imu ripping that immortality away from Saturn's body before he died. And even that was pretty devastating because it almost blew up the entire ship he was supposed to be on. It blew back everyone. And he was choking to death, and we just see this black substance coming off of him. And that really reinforces my thought that this thing, this aspect, this abyss is what makes up the powers and allows the Gorosei to do what they do that is beyond normal. So now my question lies into just how deep does this abyss go? How vast is this abyss? Killingham knows of it. He knows the name of it. He knows what to call it. Otherwise, the words abyss are very blackened and emboldened in that particular speech bubble when he mentions it. So now the question is, what is Imu-sama for them to wield the abyss as they do, and possibly be the reason why the Gorosei have access to immortality, instant regeneration, telepathy, and being able to create, circles that they can teleport in and out of all across the world at will. So not only do we have to worry about, the Gorosei showing up again, the world government making a move against the world itself and all the people who don't want to serve underneath them, we now have to worry that the world government has access, essentially it might as well just say the Gorosei and Marijua has access to a power that not even no one could do anything to these Gorosei members during the final hour of the Egghead arc. No one. Not even Luffy using his Nika form was able to do lasting damage against any member of the Gorosei. Not even Atlas blowing herself up in order to take out Ethan Baron was enough to keep him down, because he was shown later just basically regenerating not only his face but his glasses as well. And it also showed Emmett punching. It showed Emmett. Who was it that I'm trying to remember who did what. I'm trying to remember. I think it might have been Emmett who punched. Who was it that punched Saturn that caused him to be... No. This is when Luffy and Bonnie punched Saturn basically to pieces. And it appeared like holes all over his body. It was Luffy using Dawn Gatling against Saturn, and his whole body was just full of holes. Moments later, he was fully regenerated with absolutely no damage done. Some way or another, Gabin will intervene, especially if they go after Kowloon. Last time I checked, he's a kid. Yeah, if they go after Kowloon, that means that the Holy Knights are going to have a former member of the Roger Pirates gunning for them. And I honestly feel the Holy Knights are not ready for someone who is on the same level as Rayleigh and Roger to be all like, okay, so you gonna mess with my kid? Also, Ozzy, it's good to see you, my friend. You gonna mess with my kid? Fine. All right. I was gonna wait until this whole thing blew over, but now I got to run hands with all y'all. I got to beat all y'all up. And the fact that Kowloon says, like, oh, my dad is strong. He's capable of fighting against even the strongest of Elbaf's warriors. When you got a regular-sized dude who can fight giants on the regular and he's stronger than all of them, yeah, you gonna have a tough time if these Holy Knights try to make a move on Kowloon. They gonna have to deal with the Mountain Eater. But Ozzy, I was just talking about just the nature of the abyss in One Piece. It's an actual thing. The abyss. We don't know what the abyss is, but its name has been brought up in chapters. It's been brought up in the most recent chapter, and now it just makes me wonder just how far is its reach? Is it something that existed from the first world and the second world? Or is it something that Imu-sama came into when they were around the second show? The Abyss goes back even further than that, and it's just been something that's been primordial and always existed. And he was probably taking on multiple Elbaf giants at once. Yeah, that sounds like Gaben. If he was capable of fending off hundreds of different pirates. Okay, kind of skipped there just a little bit. Yeah, it skipped there. But yeah, with Gaben going out of his way to take down hundreds of pirates just so Roger could get some rest, I'm pretty sure he's capable of defending himself against multiple giants all at once. So that's one thing. So, not to mention, we're losing Shamrock. He's going back to Marie Joie, while Summers and Killingham stay behind. So I don't think we haven't really seen the whole dynamic of the Holy Knights with each other, save for Shamrock and Gunko. And given how Gunko is easily agitated by Killingham falling asleep while Shamrock is trying to talk to him, it shows that Gunko apparently may hold Shamrock in high regard, and any disrespect towards him she sees as, like, heresy. Killingham is apparently a narcoleptic because he's falling asleep in the middle of talking to someone. And I'm like, we haven't seen this from Luffy in so long. Now we have another narcoleptic character in One Piece. Summers is just chilling, minding his own business. We kind of saw it post Sabaody on the island where Brook was sent to, but they failed at it. Brook landing in that spot was just pure coincidence. Yeah. So my thing is, were they trying to... Seeing as how Brook wasn't actually the one they summoned into that circle back in that village, does that mean that the nature of the Abyss itself is pretty much as old as humanity itself, and people tried to use that power, but they can't because they don't actually have access to the Abyss because only certain people do? Now it just brings into question that whole tribe and what they were trying to do the whole time. Is the person they were trying to summon affiliated with anyone who uses the Abyss and possibly to Imu-sama themselves? I'm just saying. When you introduce an entire concept called the Abyss, now it just brings into question just how far back does it go? What does it do? Who created it? Has it always existed? What is its full capabilities? I have so many questions. But now we're here at the last chapter of February, where we have two individuals who are looking to kidnap giant children. And I'm just wondering, like, I know we're going to be getting a chapter the day after tomorrow. We're going to be getting a brand new chapter on Sunday, so I'm really looking forward to that. But at the same time, I'm just left with so many questions. But overall, we had some very good chapters from One Piece. Very good. We had the big old mural that explained the first world of One Piece, the second world of One Piece, and now the current world of One Piece. Then we had the reveal of Scopper Gaben, a member of the Roger Pirates who is still very much alive, and also, the husband of Ripley and father of Kowloon. And then the last chapter, we get not one, but two Holy Knights replacing Shamrock so they can go ahead and kidnap the kids here on this island just to get the giants riled up and to use them as leverage so that the giants can be brought to heel for the world government. And this was in February, the shortest month of the year. What is March going to do? And Grand Line Review kind of brought up something interesting dealing with Harudin, that maybe his mother was a member of the D-Clan, perhaps the giant D-Clan that Saul is related to. Huh, that's a good thought to have. because Jaguar D Sol is our very first giant with a D, right? Yeah. He's the only giant with a D in his name, isn't he? He is. So wouldn't it be something if, yeah, it would be interesting if Haruddin's mom is kind of affiliated with the D clan, and maybe that's another reason why the she was never accepted to be queen, simply because she carried that title in her name. That gives a lot of thought to that. That's interesting. My lips are mad chapped right now. I gotta remedy that. I am so sorry. If you see me licking my lips a whole lot, it's just that it got very dry in my room. So here's where we stand with One Piece. Luffy and company now have the key that they can use to unlock Loki's chains. And I really hope that Zoro pays more attention to Gabin, questioning, like, do you really want to open up his chains without knowing what he can do? Because there's nothing worse than going into a possible fight without knowing the capabilities of the person you're going up against. That could put you at a disadvantage. We also don't know what type of powers Loki has for him to be chained up with Sea Prism Stone chains, Sea Stone chains, across that keeps him tethered to the entire tree of the country. And he's just stuck there, and he's been there for what, 6 years? So we don't know the full capabilities of Loki, but they have the key. Gabin's saying, like, if this place is still standing when you get back, when all things are said and done, then come see me and we'll talk again. So they got the key. Robin is reading up about the first world, second world, and the third world, not knowing about the mural that's upstairs with Frankie and Ripley right now. Gunko is stuck with Killingham and Somers while Shamrock goes back to Marijois in order to kind of alleviate any sense of worry from any celestial dragons there in Marijois. So that's another thing. Now they're trying to kidnap the kids in order to use it against the giants. And you know that we got some members of the Straw Hat crew that absolutely will not have it if you try to mess with any kids. Nami, Robin, and if Sanji has anything to say about it, yeah, he's going to side with both Nami and Robin. Just for that reason. So now, the stage is pretty much set up where the Holy Knights are going to try and hold the kids hostage, and everybody is going to be trying to take them on in order to rescue the kids. The last time we had to deal with children being kidnapped or being mistreated within an arc, wholly within an arc, has to be Punk Hazard. It has to be Punk Hazard with the kids who were being experimented on by Caesar and turned into giants for Big Mom. That was the last time we had an arc where the lives of children were essentially at stake. So now we're having another arc where the lives of children are essentially at stake, but it's the giant children of the giant warriors of Elbaf. And we already know that, granted, this is supposed to be an age of Elbaf where they're ushering into an era of peace and, you know, being benevolent like King Harold wanted, but there are still plenty of giants on Elbaf that want to throw hands with everybody. So the moment they hear that, oh no, our kids have been taken, okay, let me get my big old battle axe because we're about to cleave in some skulls. And I said this before. You roll up in the Giants' territory looking for a fight. You are not dealing with people who are all like, oh no, what are we going to do? When is Shanks going to come back and help us? No, this is a whole nation where they will fight. They are ready to fight as much as party. So I really do think that this is going to be quite an incredible arc for us to experience. And frankly, I think I said everything I needed to say. I don't want to drag this out any more than I already have, but I've said everything that I needed to say. Your thoughts on the chapters, Ozzy? I want to know. Also, another thing concerning One Piece is how the anime will be returning in April. So we got one more month. We got one more month of a break before the anime returns in April. So we got a whole month of just One Piece chapters before the anime comes back. Also, today is the last day to put in the survey for Pirate Warriors 4, the characters you want, and even suggestions of what you would want to see in the game before those surveys pretty much close at the end of today, which will be at 11:59 is when that closes out. I've already put in like 2 different surveys, one for the American and one for the Japanese. I put in the first one, I was like, oh, I love Pirate Warriors 4 and all that. You doing what you're doing. And the second one, I said, like, okay, this is where I want what I want. I want a horde mode. I want an endless mode where I can just fight endlessly. I want skills that can make characters even more powerful. The way it has like a true Pirate Warriors, that mission that came with Roger and company, I want more stuff like that. But I think I said everything I needed to say about One Piece, concerning One Piece. I think I said everything. I think these chapters were especially good. I want to say that chapter 1138 was by far the absolute best chapter of all the 3 that we got in February, due to it revealing what happened to the world of One Piece beforehand. 1, it was cleansed over with fire. Secondly, it was pretty much drowned in water. And now we're dealing with the third world, where it looks like we're going to have all these different nations, all these different walks of life, from mermaid to minks to giants, everybody fighting against this great darkness, this great abyss, if you will. So who knows how long it's going to be before that part of the story actually comes to fruition. But I feel like Elbaf is probably, wouldn't it be funny if Elbaf is the signifier for Ragnarok, for One Piece, for the giants themselves? Like what happens here in Elbaf is going to have a significant effect on not just the world, but the world government and Marie Joie. Because there is absolutely no way that all this is going to go down, and it's actually going to go in the Holy Knight's favor and in favor of Marie Joie. There's absolutely no way. And once the world government takes another loss, they're going to be desperate. They're going to be desperate. Because the world government has been suffering losses. Here I said I thought I covered everything I needed to cover, but now I'm just talking about it again. Should the world government suffer another loss? Because they want to bring the giants under heel. But it's not going to be that simple when you have literal Nika, the god of liberation, the warrior of liberation, who works who does everything in his power to free those under oppression. There's no way you're going to try and take over an entire nation and oppress them while the warrior of liberating from oppression is also on that same island. You're not gonna be rolling that smoothly in there with Elbaf. But when the world government suffers another loss, they're going to start getting desperate. And I wouldn't be surprised if we get that ancient weapon that they used to destroy the Lelouch Kingdom. I wouldn't be surprised if they do their best to try and get that up and running as quickly as possible. That's how I feel. Because these pirates keep coming in, keep ruining their chances of bringing the status quo back under their control. The world is rebelling. There's nations revolting. This is not the world that we created. We need to bring this back to... The world doesn't need any more advancements. Remember that. They don't want the world to advance because the world is perfectly fine as it is, serving the needs of the celestial dragons and the world government. And as long as the rich continue to be rich and the poor continue to be poor, nothing needs to change, and we just need to keep things as they are. But now that the poor are standing up for themselves, now that the weak are finding the courage to stand up for themselves, now that pirates are having such a strong impact on the things that they do, the revolutionaries are encouraging revolt, encouraging revolution. Now the world government is thinking, okay, things are not staying as they are. Now we need to bring the entire world to heel, including nations that are unaffiliated with us and we have nothing to do with. We need to bring them all under heel. We need to make the giants serve us. So kidnap their children to bring them under our command. This entire nation under our command. Because they already pretty much cut their losses with Loki. Because they wanted Loki on their team. And not because Loki has what they're looking for as a person, but I believe that because of the power he possesses, they wanted under their control. The same way they wanted the power of the Hito Hito no Mi model Nika, they probably wanted the same thing for Loki's power. They just need to bring him to their side so he can fight for them. But seeing as how Loki doesn't like to be told what to do by anyone, least of all being told by someone he views as inferior puny humans, that's out of the question. So now, since we can't get the one giant we want, we might as well get all of them. We might as well take all of them. So kidnap their children. That'll work things in our favor. Just kidnap our children. They won't revolt against us. They won't hold grudges. They won't do anything against us because we have their kids. But the Straw Hats are here. And every single time the Straw Hats show up, there's always a shift in the nation. Every single time, D's gonna whip up a storm again. It's always the same case. Every single place the Straw Hats go to, it gets changed somehow. Something flew into my eye. Get out of there. Get out of there. No, it's on the edge. Okay, we're good. Every single time the Straw Hats show up to a nation that is in desperate need of help, that nation gets freed. Every time. Every time. Oppression from Buggy, relieved. Oppression from Arlong, relieved. Oppression from Axehand Morgan, relieved. Oppression from Klahador Captain Kuro, relieved. Oppression from Doflamingo, relieved. Oppression from Wample, gone. Oppression from Crocodile, gone. Oppression from Bellamy and his crew back in Jaya, gone. Oppression from Kaido, really, really gone. Kaido and Orochi and Big Mom, gone. Every single time the Straw Hats go to a nation that is in need of liberation, they liberate it. Every time. So now, we got the home of the giants that looks like it's probably going to need some help in liberating quite soon. So we already know what the Straw Hats are going to do. Do what they do best. Gonna liberate another country again. But that's how I feel about One Piece with these 3 chapters that we got. Can't wait to see how they're going to tackle trying to kidnap kids. And since the kids are in the vicinity of where Robin is, I really hope Robin does not reveal herself, because if the God Knights finds out that Nico Robin is there, that's going to be another issue that we need to concern ourselves with. Them trying to take Robin on top of the kids as well. Because the world government have been trying to get their hands on Robin this entire time. Not just outright kill her, but trying to capture her. We don't know the specific reason as to why they want to get Robin. Part of me thinks it's because they don't have anyone in Marijois that is capable of translating the poneglyphs, and they want to know the information that are on the poneglyphs. Of course, that could not be the case if they decided to kill everyone in Ohana because of what they learned from the poneglyphs. So I can't really stick behind that idea. But they always try to capture Robin rather than just outright kill her. So hopefully Robin does not get seen by Killing Ham and Gunko and Somers. Otherwise, now we're going to deal with, trying to keep Robin safe again and rescue the kids at the same time. But we'll see what March holds for us in the world of One Piece. All I can say to everyone before we hit the 2-hour mark of this big discussion was, 1, I enjoy doing these talks with all of you. Even though I'm just airing out everything that I want to say about all the chapters that we get within a month, I have to say that I enjoy all of these talks with you. I love talking about One Piece, theories that you may have, and where the story is going to go from here. I am definitely looking forward to when Robin learns of that mural upstairs in the Jewel Tree Atom Forest up above, and where the story is going to go when Luffy and company get that key to Loki. And if Loki is still alive. But I'm pretty sure Loki is still alive because the mural shows him fighting alongside the Warrior of Liberation, the current Nika at this time. So, we'll see. We'll see what March has to offer in terms of story for One Piece, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm also looking forward to the PS5 version of Pirate Warriors 4 when it eventually drops, because I'm definitely going to be playing that to see what new things are there, how the graphics compare to like the PS4 version. Thank God there's going to be a free upgrade for us people who actually own the game already. And yeah, we'll see what March has to offer for One Piece in general. Maybe a new trailer for the One Piece Netflix series for Season 2. So, a lot of One Piece things to look forward to, and then the One Piece anime coming back in May. But I said everything I needed to say, everybody. This was a wonderful discussion, and I was glad to, just drone on for almost 2 hours straight. I just have to say that this is an immense... things are getting very good for One Piece, and I'm looking forward to what Oda's going to do for us in March. My birthday month! So to everyone, including Hybrid, who just turned 35, thank you, my friend. Well, firstly, happy birthday to you, and thank you for being such a dedicated moderator on this channel. You've been here forever. You've been here for quite a long time. I think either you were here before Ozzy or Ozzy was here before you. But you and Ozzy and CJ and quite a few of you have been my moderators for a great number of years. And I have to say, thank you for your dedication. Thank you for being here. Have a happy birthday. And I look forward to seeing you again in the next thing that I do. But most importantly, you enjoy yourself, my friend. Thank you, Ozzy, for being a member because it means the world to me. And it also continues to help this channel as we continue to go upwards. The channel just continues to get larger. And thank you everyone else who watched this little stream of mine as I discuss things from One Piece. If I missed anything, be sure to let me know down in the comments, and I would love to have another discussion about it again. Because I see all of your comments. I see everything that you guys say. So don't feel like I don't see them. I see every single one of them. And I read every single one of them. And I try to respond to almost all of them as much as I can. But overall, had a good time in February, and I'm looking forward to March. So let's move on to March and see what One Piece has in store. And how many breaks are we going to see this month, this upcoming March as well. But I'm done. Hope y'all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later, peoples!